one person that Angels fans should be excited about who maybe isn't talked about often? Like, obviously we know about the Reed Detmers, the guys that everyone talks about, who's one guy who you saw that you're like, hey, this guy's pretty good. Maybe you guys should pay a little attention to this guy.
Well, I would like to say two guys.
Okay.
The Angels 2014. The Angels world champions. Oh, and first pitch crushing.
This podcast is brought to you by Podbean. Podbean is the easiest way to create your own podcast. In fact, we use Podbean to host Halos in the Infield. Download the free Podbean podcast app to start, record, and publish your very own podcast in just minutes. Podbean provides everything you need to run your podcast, and you can record and publish episodes directly on the app from your phone. Download the free Podbean app today. That's Podbean. Head on over to Podbean at www.podbean.com and use the code podcast21 for your first 30 days of podcast hosting for free. Check it out. Viva Los Angelitos and Viva Podbean. And Viva Los Angelitos and welcome to Halos in the Infield. This is Fernando, joined here by Luis Aviles Jr. How are you, Luis?
Doing great, Fernando. Can't complain.
Perfect. How's the weather in Arizona right now?
Oh, man, it's a little bit crazy right now because last week it was in the 80s.
Okay.
And out of nowhere, today in the morning it was like in the mid-30s, low 30s, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm in New Jersey right now for work. So when we first got here, it was pretty cold. Today it was like in the 70s. Right now at night it's like in the 30s. And then I think Friday it's supposed to snow. So like I don't know what they've got going on over here, but I'm not a big northeast kind of guy. Have you been up here before?
Yeah, I've been to New York quite a couple times. But I mean, I like the cold, but just for a couple weeks, man. After a couple weeks, I'm like, hey, I'm out of here.
Okay. Yeah, you've been, I guess, pretty lucky, right? Because I mean, you haven't had to play up in this region too much, right?
Not on that side, but I did also in Milwaukee with the Brewers when I got drafted and stuff, and I did play in Wisconsin, so that was like one of the coldest places I experienced.
Yeah, Wisconsin's definitely pretty rough. So let's get to that, actually. So you were drafted by the Milwaukee Brewers in the 30th round of the 2013 amateur draft, and you were drafted out of Southwest Miami High School. So June 19, 2013 is when you officially signed your contract. So what do you remember about like draft day? Was it something like that you were, anticipating getting drafted right away and signing, or were you considering going to school? What went through everything?
I think everyone in my family considered me going to school. My agent considered me going to school. Well, my advisor at the time, he was not my agent. He couldn't be my agent. My advisor wanted me to go to school. I think the only one that did not want to go to school was myself. And I think a lot of scouts knew that, I think I was ranked pretty high and as a shortstop in 2013 for the draft. And I got a couple offers earlier in the rounds. Like I got an offer on the 6th, I got an offer on the 8th, and then I also got an offer on the 10th by different teams. And my advisor didn't like the offer at the time, as in the past, and he wanted a lot more. And for me, it was, I just want to get drafted. I was here from Cuba not a long time ago, and all that money that they were saying, even the first offer that they gave me, I was amazed by it. So I was like, I just want to go out there and play baseball. And he kept denying all his offers. And I think after the 10th round, I got up from his office and I left. I took off. He denied the last offer in the 10th round. I think it actually was the Brewers, the one that offered in the 10th round. Okay. And not even like an hour later, the Brewers sent me a phone call. They gave me like a phone call, but hey, congrats, we just drafted you in the 30th round. How do you feel? I'm like, I didn't know what you guys got on the table. And we had a conversation, and I signed even without even telling my agent. I called my next day out, hey, I just signed with the Brewers, so I'm out.
So you said your advisor wasn't happy with how things were turning out. Did they just,
Yeah.
was it because of the way the slot was working out that they weren't happy with how much they were going to pay you, or like what were they not happy with?
Yeah, he was not happy with the slot. He
Okay.
wanted a lot more. I think he wanted like 500, and I did get offered like close to that. My first offer, I think it was like 360.
Okay.
Don't
But
want
you
to
just
be,
kind of like,
yeah.
shut up. Just let me get signed.
I know. As soon as I said 360, it was a speaker, so I was like, "Oh yes, get me in there." And he said, "No, he not." I mean, I was young. He put a bunch of like papers right in front of me, like everything, all the shows up that are just like you. They signed for this, and at the end of the day, I'm happy I signed. I got through the minor league system. I got to I got to start my career early.
Okay. So let me ask you this. So I know you're probably going to give me the whole, I didn't care where I ended up, 'cause that's what everybody says. But when you came over and, you went to high school and then you went into the draft, is there a specific team that you kind of were dreaming you were going to get picked by? There was one team that you had to say.
I'm not gonna lie. Always been a fan of the Red Sox.
Okay.
The reason I was a fan of the Red Sox is because I was born and raised in Cuba, but in 2003, the World Baseball Classic, the Dominican team had a ball player, David Ortiz, which we all know who it is.
Yeah, right. Hall
So,
of Famer.
and I was watching, yeah, Hall of Famer. So I was watching David Ortiz in Cuba, and he just stuck. Every time I watch him play, like I love the way his attitude, the way he played, even though he was left-handed and everything. We have nothing in common, but I just like the way he played, And
Okay.
then they call him Big Papi. And as soon as I got here in 2006, I saw he played for the Red Sox. So that was the team that I always wanted to get picked back at first.
Okay. So was he your favorite player growing up? Is that fair to say?
Yes, he was my favorite player growing up until I met Hanley Ramirez.
Okay. Tell me about that. That sounds pretty
Well,
cool.
Hanley was more like he was the guy that I used to look up to.
Okay.
Just because when I went my first game that I went to watch in the major leagues, it was the Miami Marlins, and Hanley was a shortstop at the time. He was a rookie that year. He ended up winning Rookie of the Year, and we have a lot of similarities. Like he comes from the Dominican. I come from Cuba. He wears number 2. I wear number 2. We had a big leg kick at first. I was only 12 at the time, but I felt like we look a lot alike. So, and I grew up watching him the whole time, and until I got drafted. So,
Yeah, he was a really fun player to watch. Because he played with the Marlins, one of the Red Sox. So he was kind of one of the guys who was all over the place. But yeah, I remember him being a really exciting player. He was kind of like he was one of the first original players to really bring like excitement and attitude to baseball. Because you and I are roughly the same age. So when we were growing up, it was very much like the gentleman's game. You know what I mean? There was no emotion.
Yeah.
You just kind of went out there, if you struck out, whatever, you want to go sit down. And nowadays, we have the excitement of like the Latin players and the let the kids
a little
play.
flashiness.
Exactly. So, and Hanley was kind of ahead of his time.
He was at that time. He was an exciting player, especially his first few years in the league. He was someone that you wanted to watch because it was fun to watch him play.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So June 20th, you played for the Arizona League Brewers. So, I won't share too much about your numbers, but you batted 207 that year with an on-base percentage of 269. So I'm assuming that's probably not where you wanted to be, but you did dip your feet in professional baseball. What do you remember from that year? And what was kind of like the initial shock that you remember the most? Like what was so different about pro baseball?
Wood bats.
Okay.
The wood bats. So, because I didn't know, I was not that. I didn't go a lot of tournaments or anything. I just ended up going to perfect games and stuff like that. That was like my first time like using a wood bat. So at first it was like a big shock. So as soon as I got drafted, I didn't even know what wood bat to use. Well, when I got here, everyone was talking about different models, different length, and this and that. I was like, just give me one of those like piece of wood, and I was just
You're like, I don't care.
I don't really care. So, and the team had some wood bats, and they had so many like different models and all that stuff. And I ended up, the guy told me, "Oh, what do you want to swing?" I was like, "Something light." I mean, I was 152 pounds when I got drafted, so there was not much that I can do with that. And I ended up getting a 271.
Okay.
And then the league, I would say when I got here, everyone looked like so like mature already. Like a lot of them had like facial hair. Everyone looked like a grown man. And you have people getting drafted out of college coming to AZ as well. The best guy here anymore. Everyone got a lot of talent. Everyone here is like either the third or fourth batter from your high school team. They got talent. They either play shortstop or they were like a main position. So it was nice to be around those guys with so much talent that you only get to see sometime when you go like a showcase and things like that. And once you got to face like all the teams, I got to experience facing all the Latin guys, like the Dominicans throwing 95, 97, 100, not even knowing where the ball was going. But that was like the fun part of getting into pro baseball.
Yeah, I think a lot of people talk about like how different it is to go to the minors because, your entire life, you're used to being one of the best, if not the best player on your team. You're the best player in your league, your conference, your high school, your city. And then all of a sudden, when you go to the minor leagues, you took all of those guys, the 1% of the best high school players and college players. Okay, now you guys are all here on the same platform. So now you're in a situation where you might not be the best guy. So a lot of people talk about like how different it is to go from being, hey, you're the best player in your city to, hey, you're another guy on the team. That's not a bad thing. That's just part of the learning curve. But everybody always says that, how weird it is to go from that.
Yeah, it's definitely yes. It's like, which is good because that's what makes you want to work when when you get to pro baseball and you see so many guys surrounding you with talent and stuff like that. At the end of the day, like we're all talented, just in different ways.
Absolutely.
There's some guys that can run more than others. Some others that got more power. At the end, you just have to like stick to who you are as a player and what's going to be your role model in the team and how can you help the team like win games. And for me at the time was my defense. My defense and my speed. I felt like that was like my best tools at the time. And I mean, we all have seen the more I have played through the minor leagues. Now the power has come in. My defense still there, but my stolen bases and all that stuff, my running part of the game, all of that, I kept that. But now like the power has come in the last 3 years.
Yeah, I feel like that's also probably hard. When you're growing up, you learn your game, but what you don't realize is your game changes every single year. But not only does your game change, but the game itself changes. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so now you're in, you went from from single A to double A. So now everyone's faster. Okay, so maybe you try to fix that part of your game because you're not the fastest guy on the team. Or, maybe this team is really good at defense and defense is where you lack. So I think that's another thing that's probably really hard for players, right? Not only adjusting your game, but adjusting to the way the game has changed as you change levels.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and then at the end of the day, you just have to realize, what can I do to help the team win? What can I do, and what's the best thing that I can go out there and do every day consistently, so I can give myself the best shot to be successful and help the team to come with a W at the end of the day, because that's what matters.
No, yeah, absolutely right. Winning is what matters.
Are you sick of sandpaper tongue? Do you prefer your sunflower seeds to be non-GMO, gluten-free, and without all that bullshit MSG? If so, do we have some good news for you. Introducing Chinook Seedery with some of the best sunflower seeds on the market. Be sure to check out all 7 of their non-GMO, gluten-free flavors today. To help out Halos in the Infield, head on over to halosintheinfield.com and click on our sponsor link. Chinook Seedery, Carpe.
So you were with the Brewers from 2013 to November 4th in 2019 when you elected free agency. So how was it for you to make the decision to leave the Brewers organization? And how weird was it for you to leave an organization that you've only known the Brewers way? So you decided to leave. Walk me through that mindset and how difficult it was to, leave.
I mean, going towards the end of the year, I mean, the Brewers treated me incredibly good. They gave me so many opportunities and everything. I can't complain about the Brewers because in 2016 I've been getting 450 plus, player appearance. So I'm really thankful for that because that gave me the chance to make a lot of adjustments through my minor leagues and get better as it goes. But once I got to free agency, the Brewers were definitely one of the teams in mind because I wanted to go back. The GM really liked me. He had a conversation with me right after free agency and stuff. They did made an offer, and then my agent called me. He goes, "Hey, we're gonna wait another month and see because there's a few teams that are interested." So there were quite a few teams interested at the moment. They put down some offers, and when the Angels came into the picture, I was playing in the Dominican. I was playing winter ball at the time. And my agent called me. He goes, "Hey, I think the best shot for us is going to be the Angels. Especially you're the kind of player that you are, what you can bring to the table. These people really like you. So I think the best shot right now is the Angels." So, and I have always had faith in my agent right now. And I told him, if you think that's the best shot and it's the best opportunity for me, why not? Let's get after it.
So let me ask you this. So when you're having this conversation with your agent, I'm assuming what you're looking at is the major leagues. That's the goal.
Yes.
So in 2019, the Angels had Andrelton Simmons, who is arguably the best defensive shortstop in baseball. But he was on an expiring contract. He didn't have very much time left with the Angels. So is that something you and your agent are talking about? Like, okay, we're probably projected to make the majors in the next 2 or 3 years. Andrelton Simmons shouldn't be with the Angels anymore, so that's our best chance. Is that the kind of stuff you're looking at?
Pretty much, we really don't get that deep into a conversation. He does all the homework on himself, right? He just calls me pretty much and tells me, "Hey, listen, this is the reason why we're going to this team. Andrelton Simmons is here, or let's say this player is here." But at the end of the day, it's like, you don't have to worry about none of those people. Just go in there, do your thing. Because if you do your thing, they're gonna find a way to call you up, and but we're also looking for an opportunity. What team is gonna give me the best opportunity? Because I don't do anything by just getting 150 at bats in the year, and then it's hard for me to make adjustments. I'm looking for a team that's gonna give me an opportunity to get 350 plus 400 at bats, that I can make adjustments day in and day out and show them what I got, And then what happened was we saw that on the Angels. We saw that they were really interested, the way they talked to us. And, he told me this is the best team. They're putting a good offer on the table. The guy in the big leagues is Simmons, you also got to realize he's one of the greatest defensive player in the game. And he can hit too. But he used to get injured a lot. So
He did.
That's another thing that you look at, It's like, okay, he gets hurt a lot. So maybe that could be an opportunity. You don't want anyone to get hurt at the end of the day, but sometimes that's the only opportunity you got with some teams.
Absolutely.
So,
You're the next man up. So if you have the ability to be that next man up, why wouldn't you set yourself up for that?
Yes.
Viva Los Angelitos. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. We've all been going through a lot. You're not alone. And you know what else you're not alone in? Being okay. It is okay to not always be okay. Without a healthy mind, being truly happy and at peace is hard. The good news is therapy works, and it's proven to work. But what is therapy exactly? Well, therapy is exactly what you want it to be. Maybe you're not feeling motivated today and would like some tools to help. Or maybe you're feeling insecure in relationships or even work. Or maybe you're just not dealing well with stress. Whatever you need, it's time to stop being ashamed of normal human struggles and start feeling better, because you deserve to be happy. And now you don't have to worry about finding an in-person therapist near you to help. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. So you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Guys, join the millions of people who are seeing what online therapy is really about. It's always a good time to invest in yourself because you are your greatest asset. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Halos of the Infield listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/halos. That's better, HELP.com/halos. HALOS. Viva Los Angelitos! Enjoy the rest of the show. Okay, so following the spring training of 2020, you were assigned to the very first Trash Pandas team. But, of course, COVID happened. And what I'm assuming is because of COVID, you were then released by the Angels. And then you obviously re-signed the next season. But walk me through what happened with the whole COVID situation for you. How did you stay mentally ready to play baseball? And what did you do to physically stay in shape in a time where I'm assuming you probably missed the most amount of baseball in your life?
Yeah, it was definitely hard. It was definitely hard. Well, when I got to the Angels in spring training, I had a good start, really good start. They sent me to a lot of the games in the big league side. So I was in like 11 games, the first 11 games they had in the big league side. And I got to have a conversation with Joe Madden, and then he called me out to the side one day when we were playing the Brewers. And he called me, "Hey, son, where you from?" He told me, I told him I was from Cuba and stuff like that. He goes, "I like the way you play. I like your attitude. You're always like heads up. This and that. You're really aggressive, so I hope to see you at some point this year." So that gave me a little bit more of like that confidence because you're not in the big league camp, but you also like going to play there every day, and you're coming in the 6, 7 innings. Sometimes you might get one at bat, and you just want to be able to, to let them know that I'm ready for this league, or I want to be the next guy up. So I had a really good spring training with them, and that with Joe, that conversation with Joe Mauer stuck to me. And then the situation with the whole COVID happened. They called me up like a month later, and they told me, "Hey, Aviles, we're gonna have to let you go." I think it was part of my contract that did not want to pay what they had to give me on the contract if I'm just sitting at home. So I think that had to do part of it. But they told me we love what you brought to the table, everything you did, the way you carried yourself, doing spring training. All the staff over here loved you, so we really want you to come back. We're gonna go for you when the off season comes again, because we want to see you in the Angels uniform. I was like, definitely, I would love to come back. I like the organization and everything. So when that whole pandemic happened, I was like, okay, now I'm out of baseball. What do I do now? So I was sitting at home for like a good, I think it was a month, and my agent called me and he said, "Hey, there's gonna be a league in Texas, in Sugarland. You cannot lose the whole year because you're a free agent. So I need you to get on board, and go play out here for 2 months. That way you can just stay in shape. There's going to be a lot of good players. There's a few veterans. There's a few big league guys. There's a lot of prospects for me from a lot of the teams." He sent me the list. I saw all the players over there, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going out there because at the end of the day, I need to play. So it will be nice just to like. So that gave me a little bit more confidence that I was playing and not missing. I did not miss the whole year when I went down to Sugarland to play for 2 months.
Okay. One question I have, because you had mentioned talking with Joe Madden. In 2020, that spring training, did you have any interaction with Anderson Simmons at all?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
How was he?
He was an extremely nice guy. Super nice. I got to talk to him during lunch, and I got to talk to him in the dugout. So I told him, like, what are things that you work on? Because obviously you're one of the greatest guys in the infield, right? So, and I consider myself a good defender, and I take pride on my defense. But you can always learn from someone that is doing it at the highest level where you want to do it. So I sat down next to him during spring training games, and I'll ask him, "Hey, like, what do you think when you're playing defense, or what's the first thing you're looking at?" And he will always tell me, like, know who's hitting. That way you always have that internal clock always on, like, who's hitting, know the situation of the game, know what you want to do with the ball before the ball gets hit to you, and little things like that. So it was really nice to have a conversation with him at that time.
Yeah, I've definitely seen him take grounders during spring training, and dude, that guy is so fluid. The way he just picks up the ball, is just, and he has such a quick hand when he releases it, and the way he's able to turn double plays is awesome. So yeah, I mean, if there's
He does.
anybody to learn defense, especially since you consider yourself such a defensive player, that's probably the guy to learn from, right?
Definitely it is.
And it probably humbles you because I mean, you can be a real good defender, but when you see, someone like him, like you said, at the top of his sport, that probably only motivates and makes you want to be even better.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay. So let's fast forward then to May of this year. You went to the Salt Lake Bees. So what was that like, playing in AAA?
I mean, it was an awesome experience just being around there. I didn't get to play a whole lot because I broke my hamstring opening night. So opening night, my second at bat, I had a second-degree tear on my right hamstring. So I thought I was going to be out I knew I was going to be out for a while. The doctor said it was only going to be 6 weeks, and it'll be like 2 weeks. I think it was 8 weeks, almost 9 weeks that I was out. So, but just getting to Salt Lake, getting that promotion that I got to start in AAA for the first time in my career, I was really excited because I was like, I'm only a phone call away from the big leagues right now. I'm really close. All I got to do is have a good month, maybe, stay consistent, especially the way that the Angels are, the way the organization is. They give a lot of opportunity to the players, especially when they like them. So my mentality there was like, go in there, stay healthy, do my thing, and hopefully by September or August, I will get my shot.
Well, I mean, you'll get an opportunity to get back there for sure. No, I know what it's like to play with the hamstring. I had a couple of years ago, I had a tryout with the Atlanta Braves.
Okay.
I tore my hamstring. And then 2 weeks later, I had a tryout with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and I re-aggravated that hamstring and the other one. So I know what it's like when it's, when one goes, the other one is short to follow. And man, oh man, is that a painful injury to try to work through?
Definitely it is. I learned with the last couple of years. I think in 19, I had a big injury with the year that I was having with the Brewers, and then last year was my biggest one, the one that I missed out the most. I would like to say the most games. Well, Salt Lake was a great experience. I was going into Salt Lake, and I knew some other players, but one of my really good friends that I grew up training with in Miami, John Jay, was going to be in that team.
Yep.
So he's also someone that I look up to a lot. Because, we've been working out together in Miami since, I would like to say, since 2015 until almost 2019. We always like work out, do all this stuff together. And, he played in the big leagues for 10 years, and, a lot of knowledge that he has. So it was nice to like be there with him, trying to pick his brain, especially at that level, since it was my first time experiencing AAA baseball.
And you guys got to rekindle a little bit on the Angels, right? Because was it the COVID year that he was on the Angels?
No, it was this year.
Okay, cool. So how was that? Did you guys get to interact a lot this year?
We did. We were both in Salt Lake, because even though when I got hurt, they still thought that I was just going to be able to, like, just do my rehab right there. It was only going to be like a couple of weeks, come back and stay there with the team. But then we realized that it was taking a little bit more longer than what we thought. But he was there at the time. And, we always talk about baseball. When you're in season, that's everything you talk about, baseball. So we got to have breakfast in the morning, during practice. We were like, sometimes he would shag and I was paying attention, little things like that. Then we'll talk about hitting situation. He's really big on the mental side of the game and paying attention to little details, taking advantage of the outfielders. The way that catchers block, or, when they don't give the sign the right way, how can I take the next base? Little things like that. So it was nice to be around him for a while there, at least for that month.
Yeah, I mean, baseball is such a mental game. So especially when you have a friend who's been through Major League Baseball for an extended period of time, like John Jay has, and let alone the fact that he's played on multiple organizations. So he's probably gotten to see the mentality of multiple organizations. It must be cool for you to have a friend like that who you can actually pick their brain. So that's awesome.
Sorry, someone was calling me for some reason. I don't know why.
No, you're good. Yeah, people don't call these days. So you've gotten to play in a lot of AA facilities. So how would you rate Toyota Field and the facility that the Trash Pandas had compared to some of the other stadiums you've gotten to play in?
Oh man, I would like to say the Trash Panda is the best AA affiliate that I have played in. The fans are electric.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen fans like that besides playing winter ball, and the Latin American cultures. But the Trash Pandas fans, it was funny because when they had opening day, I was in AAA, and one of my buddies, he was playing in the Trash Panda at the time, AZ Wilson, and he goes deep in his first game on opening night, and they posted a video, and then he sent me a video, and it was loud. It was like 8,000 people there because it was sold out, and it was so loud. I was like, wow, this is electric, So I was like, but when they told me, what was it? Oh, he sent me a video, and I saw that, and I was like, wow, this is what you want as a home field,
Yeah, everyone talks about how nice the facility was. I think Dave McKinnon, we had him on earlier during the season. He was talking about how great Toyota Field is compared to everywhere else.
Yes, man. The fans, the field, everything about that place is like, that's what you want to be your home ballpark to be.
Okay.
That's because their fans are great. They treat you good. They're like super nice. They're loyal for what it looks like. Because even on a Tuesday, sometimes we'll get sold out on a Tuesday, on a Thursday. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, they're a brand new organization, and the town that you guys play in, or you played in there, is also pretty new, right? Like, so everything's new, right?
The town? I'm sorry?
Yeah, like the town and the area around it, like, is all brand new developed, right?
Yeah, everything around there is pretty much brand new developed, because I think the Huntsville Sounds used to be there.
Oh yeah,
quite a while ago, but the fans they were always talking about. They said it was nothing like. But now with the Toyota Field, like, I think it's one of the only like main sports that they got around, and so you got people coming from everywhere because they just want to experience a new ballpark.
okay.
And it's a great ballpark. The food, I heard it was great. So the staff, they were really nice, especially with the players. They treat us pretty good. It was just a beautiful ballpark overall.
Yeah, I want to try to go there one day because I work in Memphis, and then we drive to Atlanta, Georgia. So we do cut through Alabama. So one of these days I'll need to pay a visit over there. Okay, so last two questions I got for you, because I know you probably got to go. So what's the biggest difference between the minor league levels? If you had to put it in perspective for fans who obviously don't play, what's the biggest difference you can,
I will say it is once you get to AA baseball, you can tell that a lot of guys, they don't get the chance to play at that level. They stay in the low A, high A kind of level, but the jump from high A to AA is a big jump. It's a big jump in all the aspects of the game: the pitching, the fielding, the hitting, the running the bases. People start making less mistake. Maybe in low A you will hit the ball hard and you will get through right away. And AA, you hit the ball hard and they're making a diving play. They're gonna throw from their knees. You're out. An hour is an out most of the time. You don't see that many errors. You look at the scoreboard at the end of the game and you might see one error, 2 errors by both teams. When in the lower levels, you do see a lot of more like physical mistake in the field, like making a lot of errors, throwing errors, little things like that. And then the mental side, the base running side, you make a lot of like mistakes in the lower level. Once you get to AA and AAA baseball, you see everything is a little bit more clean. It's like clean baseball. It's the same game, just a little bit cleaner. And then for some reason, if you're not ready for it, it feels like everything speeds up. Everything is going to speed up on you because everything is like quicker. So you got to learn how to slow down the game a little bit.
Okay, so was the initial jump with the Brewers then from single A to AA probably the hardest because, like you said, it's such a difference?
Yes.
Okay.
It definitely was.
Okay.
I'll say.
And in all fairness, you didn't get a full shake in AAA because of the injury. So
yeah.
Hopefully that one's not as bad, especially now that you know what to expect.
Yeah, definitely. Also, the expectations are there, so we'll see. All we got to do is like stay healthy now.
Yeah. So last question I have. So you were with the Angels minor league system for 2 years. So who's one person that Angels fans should be excited about who maybe isn't talked about often? Like obviously we know about the Reed Detmers, the guys that everyone talks about, who's one guy who you saw that you're like, hey, this guy's pretty good. Maybe you guys should pay a little attention to this guy.
Well, I would like to say two guys.
Okay.
Obviously, McKenna. We all know what he can do with the bat.
Okay.
But a lot of people don't talk about his defense. And for
McKinnon's
me,
defense,
like
okay.
I said, I take pride in my defense, like I said. And there's nothing better than having a guy in first base that I can throw however I want. You can just close your eyes, throw the ball out there, and you know that he's gonna pick you at some point. That guy is gonna take pride on his defense, on picking you up and things like that. Him and Michael Stefanik.
Okay.
I didn't get to play with him because I only got to play with him in spring training. But I would like to say Stefanik is that kind of guy that you see him as a person, and you're like, oh, who's this guy? He doesn't even look like a ball player. But once you see him on the field, yes. Once you see him on the field, the way he plays, the way he carries himself, I love the way the guy plays. He hustles. He reminds me a lot of Justin Pedroia.
Okay.
when I used to like watch him play, and he's gonna be a great ball player. So
That's a good comp. Anytime you can be compared to somebody like Dustin Pedroia.
yeah.
Who would you compare yourself most to? You as a player. I know you'd probably say Hanley Ramirez because that's who I'm assuming you probably modeled your game after. But what current major leaguer would you like to compare yourself to?
Current major leaguer. It's interesting.
Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah. That's a good question. Let me see. Oh man.
Hey, you can flatter yourself.
No, I would like to say because since the last year I had to play a lot of multiple positions.
Okay.
I would say Chris Taylor from the Dodgers.
Okay. Also a good
So,
comp. He's a solid baseball player.
Yeah. So that's what I consider myself with like right now. Just because I grew up playing shortstop, but nowadays like playing one position is not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
And every time I play in the outfield, like I said, I take pride in my defense. So even if I play in the outfield, the infield, wherever it is, I'm gonna try to go out there and do my thing. And every time I see him play, I'm like, yeah, we're pretty similar. He was never a big power guy at first. He was always playing the ball and play. He has great defense. And now everything, the more he has playing the big leagues, the better he has gotten with all of that stuff. And I feel like that's what has happened with me. The more I play through the minor leagues, we have seen a lot of like progress in different part of my games every year. So I feel like that's what has kept me right now, playing pro baseball.
Okay. So real quick. So you obviously consider yourself a shortstop. What's your favorite position besides shortstop to play? Like, where do you have the most fun? If they're going to throw you anywhere besides shortstop, where would you want to be?
Third or center field.
Okay. You just like you like the hot corner aspect of third?
I do. I love the hot corner because everything comes out of you quick, fast. You don't get to think, and you get to show off the arm.
Yeah, you do. You do. Okay.
So that's the best part of it.
And then center field, right? Because I mean, at shortstop, you're kind of the field commander of the infield. So if you're going to play in the outfield, you might as well command the outfield, right? That's got to be the mindset there. Okay.
Definitely. Yep.
Perfect. I understand that. All right. Well, Luis, thank you so much for the time. Is there anywhere where our fans can find you if they want to follow you with the Miami Marlins?
I mean, my Instagram is LJ Aviles. Same thing with my Twitter. So you guys can find me there. And pretty much in social media, pretty much everything I post is all my things with my kid, my fiance, and I just keep it fun.
Okay. How old's your kid?
Oh, he's 1 year and 4 months right now.
Okay, cool. Now I have a 6-year-old, so
he's the one making noise in there, so I had to lock myself in those rooms.
I get it. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate the time. Best of luck to you, man. And hopefully we'll see you here at Angel Stadium in a Marlins jersey.
Thank you, Fernando. I'll see you guys. Thank you so
All right,
much.
take care.